What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's TV review of Bel-Air Season 1, Episode 8, No One Wins in a Family Feud. This episode is directed by Sylvian White. Now, before we begin, if you like this channel, awesome. Hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top. The fun is coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button as well. Comment below on any video you watch, including this one. So this episode was definitely a marked improvement from the last episode. I actually let out a sigh of relief because I thought this next episode or the next few episodes were going to kind of go down a road that I didn't want to see. But thank God that there is some kind of drive, there's some kind of progress on some of these characters, that they're moving past their originalities and what they were in the beginning of the series. But this is an episode that is very traditional for these types of shows, especially when it came to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where either Will's mom would come along or somebody in the family would come along and they would stay for the weekend. This time it's Will's birthday, so it's his 17th birthday. So Vi is coming via private jet to visit her son for his birthday. Well, there's a lot of animosity between Vi and Viv, which we learned throughout this entire episode, which strings back all the way back to when they were kids and when they, Vi got married to Phil and how rich they eventually became. It doesn't sit well with Vi because she thinks that it's going to detract from her son forgetting about her, and it kind of leads into that simple fact of what's going on in Vi's mindset when it comes to Viv. But this episode also deals a lot with Will's dad. Will's dad is an individual that, as far as Will knew, he ran out on him, and he doesn't know anything about his father. He even tells Lisa about it, that his father was kind of a deadbeat. And it's one of those storytelling aspects which I don't have a problem with, but can become a little too much sometimes when it comes down to the idea that, the idea of Will's father kind of comes into the fold like really strongly in this episode, and has really only been hinted at before. And I understand why they did it. They need to kind of tell that story of who Will's dad is, who we find out his name Lou. Of course, Viv doesn't want Vi to tell him about Will, about Lou, because there's something really bad there that either is involving Vi or is involving something that Lou did, which I can, in this dramatic version of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I can see really being disturbing. In essence, it's basically comes down to how Will handle if he's told about his father, the animosity that Vi and Viv have with one another, and the animosity that Carlton and Will have had against one another. And now that he knows about Lisa and Will, how is that going to affect the situation? And the story plays out pretty much exactly as you expect. We have Will and Vi hanging out with each other. Will and Vi go to, of course, the boardwalk in Los Angeles. They go and have dinner with Viv. But throughout the entire episode leading up to the birthday party for Will, there is this kind of back and forth kind of animosity between Vi and Viv, and it strings back to how Vi feels Viv basically left her behind, to be fairly honest. It's a thing where Viv became super rich, super successful, but their mother always looked up to Vi as somebody who had the potential to be an artist, and that whole artist situation comes back into effect, and about how she kind of left it behind, and Vi felt very betrayed by it, I guess. And on top of everything, what actually helps Carlton's character as a progression of his character into a much more dimensional character is after everything blows up at Will's birthday party. And it's really interesting to watch because Vi gets, of course, Will a picture of her and Will as a baby as a gift, which is a really thoughtful gift, to be fairly honest. It allows him to have a picture of his parents. This episode was actually kind of emotional, to be fairly honest, but Viv gives him a pair of Jordans signed by Michael Jordan, so you can tell everybody a lot of money. And it feels like a betrayal to Vi, who always feels like she's outshadowed by Viv's success and Viv's lifestyle. And it basically comes to a head that everything that has been going down is all about, in essence, Vi. She had to take care of her mother. It takes Carlton to tell Viv this thing, and how Viv needs to pretty much apologize. Not really apologize, but they need to work it out, not only for Will and the family's sake, but it's been an animosity problem for so long that it's built up tension. I mean, they have a throwout or kind of a shouting match at Will's birthday party. They're at a nice lunch place or a nice restaurant, and there's a whole idea of Viv takes them every week to like a good restaurant. And then on top of that, you know, the idea of the Pell Grant or whatever grant that Viv is getting, and Vi is, you know, nothing to sneeze at. She works at a hospital, and she feels like she's worked so hard. It's the same thing with what Carlton's going through, which you kind of understand now why Carlton is under so much pressure and stress, because you see it throughout the entire series so far. But it's kind of like the exact opposite of everything, where, you know, when Viv and Vi finally kind of make up and kind of break down to the fact that, you know, things happen and they have to look past that, and they have to look to the kids, and what they did is it's the past, and they have to kind of, you know, move past it. But it's the same thing that happens with Will and Carlton in this episode, which I was like, thank God, something, a progression, because what ends up happening is Will approaches Carlton, and he's like, look, you know, I don't want to have to keep looking behind my back for every situation that you have problems with. And there's an earlier thing where Carlton and Phil are playing golf. Carlton's the caddy because he got in trouble for the whole situation of the party. Phil has been approached by this the guy who could donate to help his cause for his DA-ship. And he says, look, all your family members are causing problems, and they're affecting your look and, you know, how it works out. And he's been putting so much pressure on Carlton all his life that Carlton has struggled and worked hard to get where he's at, but he still feels like somebody who just was looked down upon. And it's partially his fault too, but then the problem becomes Will comes into the mix. Will is given the easier hand, even though Will has had struggles in Philadelphia, and Carlton feels like Will is being given the golden cup or whatever, the golden standard. And it made Carlton mad, and he couldn't handle it. And he's like, you know, I may not like the fact that you're with Lisa, but as long as you treat her right, I'm fine with it. And then they hug, I was like, thank God, something good. And I think there will be struggles there. I think they will fight every once in a while, but I think it's a nice progression. It's starting to even the balance between Will and Carlton that will fix the situation. It's like I said, the exact opposite with Vi and Viv, where the balance of scales was Viv here, and then Vi was like down here. And saying that Carlton felt down here, and, you know, Will's up here. But it's all about perception as reality. The things you perceive, the things you see aren't always the truth. And that's what the whole idea of what exactly is, you know, the nature of these people's problems. And then we come in with the Lou thing, and, you know, what is Lou, what did he do? We're not going to find out right now, or probably not in the season, but Lou did something that would cause the trigger Will to kind of have a spiraling out of control attack. But with that said, you know, on top of everything, we have Phil's situation, where Phil was told by that donor what the situation is, and now he wants to, now that he knows that Will's kind of curious about his father and why he's going to tell him, he basically tells Jeffrey that he needs him kind of out of the picture, which who knows where that's going to lead, what that led to. But it basically means that, you know, Jeffrey for the first time in the series actually kind of throws doubt into the situation, trying to stop the situation from happening. And that's when Phil's like, you work for me. And it's a wholly different attitude from what I remember for these two characters. But Phil, I think, is under so much pressure and stress to get this DA-ship that he is causing so much problems with his family. And it's starting to show, the cracks are starting to show. But he has an interesting moment with Lisa's dad, who's, like I said, the police captain, and he basically comes to terms with Lisa's dad, who says whoever wins the debate will be the Democratic primary nominee for the DA-ship. And I'm sure in the next two episodes, because this is the third to last episode, probably the season finale, we're going to see that, of course, debate happen. And either Phil's going to lose, which I think is going to happen, or they're going to find some common ground and somebody's going to work something out. So we'll see how that works out. There's a lot of like moving pieces towards the end of the season, which are starting to come into place. And on top of that, you know, Hilary, who's been always moving towards, you know, a goal of success in the social media space, finds herself at odds with the whole situation of the sexy food thing that she did that had a video that had 3 million views that Kylo said, and being who she is, which actually Viv actually says something interesting. It's like, are you being who you are? Are you being who they want you to be? And that's when it comes to her head as she's starting to film another one of these sexy videos, that she in essence is not doing what she wants, she's doing what they want. The problem is she doesn't read the contract of Kylo's influencer house, and yeah, it's going to cost her a lot of money. She tells Jazz, it's gonna be 50. As she apologizes to Jazz, but she tells Jazz, it's gonna cost me $50,000. I'm like, oh my god. So I don't know if she's been lying. I mean, she finally tells the truth to her parents, but I don't know if she's lying about her whole situation, if she's still at the influencer house or she really did quit. But it sounds like she knew she got herself into trouble and she's going to try and fix it herself instead of having someone else help her. Thanks to what her mother said earlier, do for you, don't do what anyone else tells you. But man, to get out of a contract, a kill switch or whatever you want to call it for $50,000. Oh my god, put me in some lingerie, I guess. I don't know, but holy crap. But I mean, in a nutshell, that's pretty much the episode, because it's more about just, the thing about this is once again, Will goes to Jeffrey. It's like, can you find some information on my father? I want to learn about it, which is interesting because, like I said, the father thing has been kind of covered underground for the whole entire season, and now it blows up. It's a problematic situation for an episode in a series, that you have to have these episodes that kind of thrust the story along. So it just kind of happened quickly instead of progressing slowly up a hill. But like I said, outside of just the whole Lou thing, it's a pretty emotional episode. The moments between Will and his mom, the moments between Viv and Vi, how everything kind of starts to clean up a little bit, how Carlton and Will have their kind of moment of understanding with one another. They're like, we don't want to have that decades-long problem fight. It really is a pretty good episode, to be fairly honest. It has a lot of heft to it, a lot of stuff that just really can take an episode into new territory. So I'm glad it progressed the way it did, because I was getting a little worried that it was going to start getting stale, and it was getting stale a little bit. But now it's progressed. Now we're moving into different territory, and I think we're going to finally see at the end of the season a really interesting cliffhanger. It's going to be a cliffhanger because I believe there is a season 2 for this series. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where the episode ends. It ends with Will and Jeffrey having a discussion about Lou, and Jeffrey has an envelope. We have no idea what's in that envelope. We don't know what's been happening. Maybe they paid off Lou not to come up, but we'll see. It'll play itself out, I'm sure, either at the end of the season or in season 2 at some point. So, but yeah, with that said, I really enjoyed the episode. I'm actually going to give it a 9 out of 10, not 9.5, 9 out of 10, because I do think there's still some tropey material. Once again, Ashley's just in the background again. She's just there. I wish they'd do something with her outside of the other story, which I really thought was a good progression, but now they're just back to just putting her in the background, which I know Ashley's that type of character in the series, but she deserves a little bit more. So anyways, that's where I'll stand. 9 out of 10. Pretty good episode. So, but that'll do it. That'll be my take on Bel-Air season 1 episode 8. No one wins in a family feud. Thank you so much for watching. Comments below. What do you think of the episode? What do you think about the storylines? Everything that is starting to kind of progress in the storylines. Do you feel that this series is moving in a good direction, or do you feel it's in a bad direction? Let me know in the comments. But otherwise, if you like the channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find out what's coming next. Sorry. If you like these videos, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video of Bel-Air. Peace out.